This is the Service Alliance podcast live with Miss Ward and the Solid Steps to Wealth podcast. How we doing out there?
Well,
Can we hear you,
phenomenal.
Miss
How's
Ward?
everybody, man? I'm doing good, man. Trying to work on my camera angles, man. You know how it is. Turn it this way, turn it that. Mine will not go landscape, so I don't know what's going on, but I'm definitely here. Technical
Yeah,
difficulties and all, man.
yeah. Yeah, we had a guest lined up and was having technical difficulties, so we're gonna try to bring her on another day. Uh, but thank you, Nicole, for trying, and we'll get things lined out and we'll bring you back. Uh, but for now, we're going to say hi to some people checking in. What's going on, Jeremy? Good morning. I got your six. Uh, Speaking of got your six, Jeremy had my six the other day. I was working on a GE refrigerator, and man, I was having a hard time, and because it was doing something I hadn't seen before, and I knew who to call. My buddy from GE, Jeremy Gifford, got me right through that thing, man. Good morning, Adam. And if you're watching out there, drop a comment. Let us know that you're watching. See what's going on in your life. But today, we are going to be talking about how to make more money in your appliance repair business. So, we will get into that. And of course, I got Miss Ward with me, so this is right up her alley. Miss Miss $1,500 average call volume.
It's a price. Acquisition is there's a price for there are acquisition fees for that, honey. It just don't come to you. Yeah, we're both on the road getting it done. This is why I keep telling people we are not gurus, we are doers. We are in here, out here in these streets, man. I'm telling you, woo, had a washer and a Kenmore washer last night in the dryer, emergency situation. Boy, I'm telling you, I had to take them Dones pills this morning, man. I was like, oh.
Yeah. We got Saul checking in. He says he's obviously in Florida traffic. People with road rage and flipping people off. We see that in all of your videos. Every
Oh,
video, it doesn't matter how long it is, somebody's cousins are out there ruining people's days. So we got some good conversation to have today. You're going to want to stay in with this one and be part of it. Even though it's not Freestyle Friday, come be part of the conversation and let us know your tips and tricks as we talk about what we're going to talk about, and we'll see where it goes. Miss Ward, would you want to do the prayer?
sure, absolutely. Lord, thank you for allowing us to get up this morning just so we can say amen and find Psalm 91 because we all need it today. And we need that prayer of protection, man, in every journey, in every part of our lives, personally and professionally. Lord, give us the wisdom to move forward with God's speed. Lord, give us the ability to blow out this quarter, this last quarter of the year, and take that momentum into next year. And Lord, thank you again for ordering our steps in everything we do. Amen.
Amen. Now,
Amen. Look, I'm eating, y'all. This is breakfast. Don't be sleeping on Costco. Check this out. What is this? Fully chick, fully cooked chicken breasts.
oh
Little
man,
bites from Costco. They so good.
we're doing it wrong. Uh, well, I didn't have a Bible verse, but you called out one in your prayer, Psalm 91. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Psalm 91, the prayer of protection, man.
Oh man,
Ain't nothing like it.
it's not a verse, but here's just a verse out of it. Uh, Psalm 91:2. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Amen. Uh,
Okay.
now I had pulled up a screenshot from my Bible this week, from the John Maxwell Leadership Bible, and I won't read the verses because there's too many of them, but it's from 2 Chronicles 22, and the title is "Leaders Serve Their People and Their Purpose: Servanthood." So it's talking about the different ways to deal with people so that you can serve them properly. Okay. Uh, Let me find where we're at here. Uh, there's four things lined out here, uh, between human way, man's way of doing things, and God's way of doing things. So we'll go with the human side first. The pursuit of power and prestige is what our natural tendency is. Uh, we look to improve wealth and status of the leader ourselves. We see others as enemies and competitors. Our motive is to remove or kill opposition, and the result is the leaders are glorified. And in God's way, if we do it this way, we will have the pursuit of love and service to others. We will strive to improve the welfare of the people. We will see others as brothers who complement, and our motives will be to meet the needs and grow the cause. And the result is God is glorified. So, as we talk about how to increase sales in your business, this is one of my keys, is servanthood. So the best sales I make help my customers the most. And the whole thing is, I was always taught growing up that the best kind of deal you can make is beneficial to both parties. Both sides win. And if you run your business like that, where you are looking for both sides to win, uh, then you're going to make good business decisions. And the way I do that in appliance sales and service is I take into account what the customer actually needs, and then I find a way to solve that need. And sometimes that means going somewhere other than me, but I try to find the best way to solve their problem the most cost effectively and the way that's going to get their lives back to normal. So we're going to ask Miss Ward to step in and give a little intro to what she does. We do things a little bit differently. I'm I'm more relational type customer base, and Miss Ward, while she does do the relational stuff, she's probably a little more transactional and deals with that kind of customers. So let's see the differing in opinions here.
Sure, no problem. I just had to mute there because they want to cut the grass and do something in the pavement while I'm on the video. I'm like, whoa, what a wonderful time. Well, the deal is with me, my whole thing is I move with strategy. So I see what's working and I adjust accordingly, and it has to be profit or sales driven. I don't do sales for fun. I do sales for profit and investment purposes. So everything I look at is I'm looking at averages. If I go into a home and I go to service one appliance, I always ask, is there anything else you need me to look at? And I'm always calculating what can I do, what's the labor involved, and things of that nature. Like I think 360 um, in everything I do because it's a cost to it. I'm
All
hearing a
right.
little echo. EJ, do you hear echo?
No, maybe
Okay.
a little background noise is all. Uh, all right. So I was on with my mastermind this week, and we were kind of talking about different things because I mentioned that I'm kind of in a weird spot right now in my business and in my head. Uh, the way we're thinking about stuff. Uh, yeah, Paul saying he don't have an echo. Uh, Foreman, top of the day. Good morning, people. We got more people checking in. So what we were talking about was I'm in the middle of targets. Like I get fixated on an issue in my business, and once I kind of get a good grasp on fixing that issue, I have to move on to another one, right? And I can't be idle. And that's uh that's where I was. So I had just been tackling a problem about tracking my numbers a little tighter and seeing what was going on, and I got a little better grip on it. And the next step to that is going to be a few weeks down the road. So I needed something else to focus on. And one thing is, all of us that's not in Florida, we're we're just a month or two away from starting to slow down. We slow down after Thanksgiving, but October and the beginning of November starts to get uh, a little bit slower than the summer. So we were talking about, you mentioned averages, and we're talking about how do you increase your ticket average, and there's lots of things that go into that. Uh, so you find other solutions for your customers, and we had a couple of things that came up. And as we were coming out of talking about numbers, and we might have mentioned this a little bit last week, Miss Ward, was uh, improving your first trip complete always makes you more money, right? Uh, because each time you have to go to a house is another time that you can't do another service call. So you're losing a new opportunity to make money. So that's obvious. First trip completes, recalls, part installs, all of those uh, matter. Uh, the walk rate sometimes gets ignored, and I know Miss Ward, you do a little bit more warranty than we do, so you don't really get the walk rate as often uh, because you're selling the job. It's done deal. You just got to figure out how much labor and parts you're going to use. Uh, but the thought was, how can you improve the walk rate? Because that will raise your average too. So, do you have any ideas on how to
Oh yeah,
increase or decrease
absolutely.
your walk rate?
Absolutely. First of all, it has to do with sales 101. It has to do with presentation and vetting the client. You know how we're always talking about avatar, period, right?
Hmm.
But you also got to understand who's walking into the customer's home. And do they understand the clues the customer tells them? Does clues the customer give you over the phone about their spending habits and how and what features and benefits speak to them? When you know your clientele, you can always sell. I'm telling you, I tell people all the time, you have to sell from the customer's pocket. So when you walk into the home, like me, I'm anal. Before I get to the house, I'm looking at the lawn, I'm looking at the shrubbery, I'm anal. And I'm actually I'm like a computer because I'm reading everything. I'm reading the landscape. And then when I get in the house, the mannerism of the customer, their demeanor, all that stuff. So I know how to address them. And this comes from my automotive days, working in automotive and having to sell service. You got to know, you go into the dealership, you always got that one guy you're comfortable with. You know, the guy that makes you feel comfortable, like he really ain't fleecing you, but he fleecing you. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say it like that, but that's really what it's about. You have to make people comfortable purchasing your product. You have to build that trust. You have to educate the customer about the appliance, because you got customers that want to sit there and look at you all day while you work. You got customers that gonna leave you alone, but they really setting you up like they leaving you alone, but they ain't. So you gotta watch that time about when you're gonna come to them with the estimate, what you found, explain why it broke, and then talk to the preventive maintenance part about what we need to do to keep it from breaking and what usually needs to be replaced along with it. Just like the dealership, need a water pump, you're gonna need a thermostat, upper and lower hoses, some clamps, and a flush. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept. And when people understand their target audience and they understand the client and what's going to make the client comfortable. Like you might like yesterday. I walked in, the customer says, "Is a check okay?" In my mind, hell no, a check ain't okay in 2023. And I tell them all the time, I say, you know what? We used to take those, but unfortunately, your cousins messed up that relationship. Not you, but your cousins. You know, so you got to know how to get to the goal, make the customer feel comfortable, but you got to be comfortable and confident in what you do. You know, a lot of people aren't comfortable. I mean, they
Yeah.
just not naturally salespeople. So the first thing I would do is get my sales team to learn sales 1, 2, and 3. And then they gotta believe in what they selling. Because a lot of guys working for you, they don't believe it. Wow, that's extra. You really don't need that. Like, and they'll tell the customer because they on that slow motion tip. It ain't
Yeah.
their business. You gotta
Yeah.
vet your people. You know, people say spiffs work and giving your guys tips and stuff. What I like to do with my subs and stuff like that, I give people gas cards. I give people stuff they can use. When I was a regional in the automotive field and I covered markets and I would go in, I would always go in. I knew what my guys' favorite lunches were. I knew what they, you know what I mean? I knew
Mm-hmm.
everything about them. I knew, like, at that time, I give them $25 Burger King card, Subway, whatever. You know, you got to know what it takes to make people excel. And people think, but each employee has a key that makes them measure up. I was just talking to somebody this morning about increasing the morale. You get morale right, you get people buying into it, they'll do anything for you. They'll move mountains, they'll work for free. I know this. I know that life. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But at the end of the day, to increase the sales piece, it's all about the customer feeling good. You know, and you ain't gonna lie to them, you're gonna tell them the truth, but you're gonna educate them and understand why you don't need a new appliance. Yeah, it might be expensive, but guess what? When I install new appliances, I get a call back in 30 to 60 days because the quality sucks.
Yeah.
This is a fact.
That's fact.
Some of
You
them we
know.
get a call right out the box. But you got to know your game and you got to read your customer, because each customer has an end game. You got the customers that's old school. They've been cleaning their coils for before you was born. So they always want to know, how can I clean the coils? How you tell them, well, you really can't get to it. Or, you
Yeah.
know, the one, you know, I mean, just, but you got to know your stuff. And I
Yeah.
feel like the key to sales is knowing your staff has to be confident. And you got to send your strongest sales guys and your strongest techs who have that sales, because you know the sales guys might not be the strongest tech, but they can sell something. You got to
Me.
understand the makeup of your team if you're going to have one.
I'm that guy you're talking about. I'm the strongest sales guy, but I'm not the strongest tech.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you know, you've heard me talk about it before. Best known beats best, and that's from Grant Cardone.
Yep.
Um, I have the reputation of taking care of customers, and I can sell almost any job I want to. And I didn't realize that I was good at sales until I started doing this job. And somebody asked me, a customer, after I gave them a pitch on a Samsung refrigerator trifecta. If you know what that is, you know what it is. The three most common failures on a Samsung fridge, and when you could sell them all three together, I call it the trifecta, because that's where the money is. and it's a lot of money, and it really does make sense to fix it. There's a lot of people out there hating on it and afraid of money, I think, saying I won't work on Samsung, they're junk. Well, good, send them my way. I'll take the money. Uh, when I pitched him, and I didn't even think I was pitching at that time, but hindsight it was, and he said, "Where'd you learn to sell?" I'm like, "What? I ain't no salesman." I, I got mad, and that's that's how I felt about sales. And when I found out the best salesmen are better at service, and just because a refrigerator repair might cost $1,000 or $1,500, don't mean you need to go buy a new one. And like Miss Ward said, you need to know what you're working on and understand the customer situation and the economy situation. So right now, all the refrigerators are coming out with R600. How many of you think that that's a proven science and it's fail proof? Uh, do you really think buying a new fridge is best for that customer? One, it costs more than the repair, even if it's just a little bit. Uh, the hassle of trying to find another one that matches their kitchen, if they care about that, right? Maybe they're elderly and you know the whole thing just overwhelms them, or they really ain't got no money. They're like the rest of us, working class, hustling for a living. They ain't got no money to go buy a $3,000 fridge, and it don't even matter if it's an $1,800 fridge. 1,500 is less than 1,800, ain't it? Do you believe in your work that after you charge them $1,500 to do a sealed system job, that their fridge is going to be better than anything that they bought at the store this week? We do. We stand by our work. Uh, so one thing you mentioned, Miss Ward, was about. Can you still hear me? I can't hear you now.
I'm sorry, I had it on mute. I'm trying to drown out
Oh,
the
okay.
parking
Well,
lot
I'm good.
people here.
My phone alarm went off. Uh, so you was talking about giving the customers your opinions and what you're supposed to do and whatnot, and you got to watch that because when I was first starting out, a broke tech, I didn't think it was worth it to fix a lot of things, and I thought a lot of numbers were too high to be charging, and I went soft. And one thing I learned was get your professional pricing up and present the price. And then Jason Shadowin says, then shut up. The customer may say, oh man, that's a lot of money. They didn't ask a question. Shut up. Let them process it. And I've seen people spend money on repairs at first that I was recommending them to not do. And they still wanted to do it against my judgment. And I realized I can't decide what is too much money for these customers. Even when we even when we try to profile them like you're talking about, check their yard, the size of the house, the neighborhood, how well they clean their house. So I've had some really really broke people, nasty, living in some big fat nice houses, fancy houses,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I can't judge them. I mean, one day, and this is where it really clicked. I was at a washer call with my guy Terry, and it was in a rough part of town. Crappy house. The guy stunk, and we told him he needed a control board for his BMW. It was a Maytag Bravos, actually, not a BMW. And it was like 500 something bucks. And the guy's like, okay, sign here. And I was like, what? There's no way this guy was gonna buy it.
No,
Like,
you was like, I should have said more. You was like, dang, I should have said six.
yeah. So we've got some comments here. Paul is gosh, Paul Paul said that 500 characters is a little too much. So he's got. Let's see what's going on here. Lowering walk rates will increase tickets by quite a bit. People are always asking about truck stocks, and for some reason, good luck getting uh, much from people discussing their truck stock. Yeah. Well, different areas are different, right? And
Yeah. And
I don't mind to share my truck stock, but it may not help you.
yeah.
Says I'm not convinced that the market is so different that people can use the excuse your market is different than mine. Yeah, it may be. However, at the end of the day, stocks should be very similar with maybe different quantities. Here's a question: as far as lowering walk rate and increasing sales, are you better off lowering your normal install price when it's on a $500 to $600 machine, even if it's going to require a second trip
No, no,
and
no, no, no. My sales is more than the price of the unit sometimes. A lot of them are,
yeah,
and it's all in my delivery. Like, see, this is why, like, guys like Paul have to ride with guys like me or EJ, because with Paul, it's more of a mindset. Because, like, right now, he's in his head. He's in his head, like, okay, this thing is worth $500. Why would I say what we're selling is not the price of the unit. We're selling the price of the repair and the convenience of not, number one, having to go get a unit. Number two, it could be somebody in a situation where they don't even want people in their house. They don't want to go online and look. They got a special situation going on. Like, there's so many layers that you don't even know. You feel
yeah,
me? When you walk into situations. And that's what I mean about people have to stop selling from their pocket and their logic. Get out your head. When you in your head will limit you. And most people don't understand that. You just like if they prejudge somebody, you go in and like, this is worth, but it's like prime example. You might see somebody sitting in a car that's a high dollar car. But because it's not common to us in America, we just think it's a little piece of whatever. But
yeah,
the repair could be worth a lot of money. Like,
yeah,
it, truck stock, like for me, like this is really what kind of gets me. I'm gonna say this, everybody gonna get mad, but what else is new? I'm used to it. I got the skin for it, but I can't. It irritates me when I hear people talk about certain things because to me, in my mind, it's so archaic. When I started my business in South Florida, I was so not about truck stock. All I kept thinking about was my inventory and liquid assets. All I kept thinking about, how much money do I have tied up in something in a market that's so diverse. But then again, I realized I'm not doing, I hate to say the word, lower level customers. I'm not doing customers that's going to be using the same lid switch on all the appliances.
yeah,
I'm not doing dryers where it's the same button switch or the little flip switch. I'm not doing them. I'm sorry. That's not my clientele. So I can't speak to a truck stop situation. I am pre-diagnosing, and I was so spoiled in South Florida. Tell Saul, he knows. My little round brown ass was popping from Miami up to Palm Beach like they was next door because I
yeah,
had three major Marcones in those markets. I had Miami Marcone, I had Pompano Marcone, and I had, of course, Encompass in the cut up in Davie, and I had Palm Beach Marcone. So I'm covering an area where that is my warehouse. That is my truck stop. But for each situation is different. When you're in an area where it's kind of like when I was in automotive, we would take the demographics, but we would pull the tags from like the Department of Labor, Department of Transportation, right? Of motor vehicles, right? And so whatever cars that were purchased in a 5-year period, we would stock the oil filters and air filters of that market. That's how different that world was. But I took that same information that I used in automotive and here. That's why my stuff is so different because I don't think like a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like in this industry, because I came different. Like my mind was different. I didn't allow it to change me either. I took the advantages that I saw from the leaders and the giants and the guys that were the movers and shakers. It's guys in this industry that are huge. They don't even understand that they're like on the cutting edge of so much stuff. And if they threw a little AI technology in there, they'd be light years ahead. But
Yeah.
that's why you gotta. If Paul is in a specific market, what city is Paul in?
I don't know what city, but he's in Connecticut. I
Okay,
think
well that's
I
part
think he
of the
might
damn
be in
problem.
rural Connecticut.
It's too damn cold. Okay, so he's in Connecticut. So Connecticut is a specific type of a market. He's got to find out if he could get his information on the in the last 5 years, the appliances that were sold in that market, and then like with me and you, we're in a market and we start seeing the same repair, or we start seeing some of the newer ones or 5-year-old ones start to have problems in our brain. We're like, okay, we getting ready to get a wave of these, you know?
No, he's central Massachusetts. I thought he was in
Oh
Connecticut.
man. So
Yeah.
once again, that's a unique market. Like with us, we'll see in South Florida, it was a push on Samsungs, LGs, so we got so many of those. But also we have a large amount of Fisher Paykel's. A lot of people don't see Fisher Paykel's. We got a Miele. And guess what I get? And it's so hilarious to me. Like in my areas where I have a lot of Brazilian clients, guess what I got all the time? Gaggenau.
Hmm.
And the reason I have so much Gaggenau is because there's an architect there and a designer that is those are their preferred uh, appliances. So
Yeah.
everybody's situation is different. The key is you should be keeping records, Paul, at the point of what you're doing, and then you should be able to have a spreadsheet. And this is down to the drilling it down and do a spreadsheet, put down the calls, put down the vendors or the manufacturers you're servicing, and then you can hone in on some type of truck stop. Or you need to be reaching out to whoever your supplier is because they have a list of the top 30 parts you ordered in the last 30 days, right? I
Yeah.
know Marcone has a running list for what they're selling, but they also, when you go under your tab, there should be something like that. But Saul can speak to that better than I.
You know, you're you hit on two things here that I want to talk about again. Uh, Truck stock for one. I was thinking about you yesterday when I just a random thought about truck stock, Miss Ward. I was thinking you probably don't have hardly any truck stock because
Hey, look, what's that back there? That's called
oh
dollars.
shit.
That's and guess what that is? That's all stuff I got to install because I'm popping my round brown ass over the horse country, Ocala. So
So
I'm gonna jump on some horses and make some money.
so you know what's in your area and
Mhm.
what's in my area. I know. I don't see a lot of the stuff you just listed. I know what they are. I'm sure I can fix them. But we see Samsung, LG, GE, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, the basic stuff. Uh, we have to really pay attention to what's going on and make as much as we can on each job and sell them because those machines are like Paul's saying, they're too cheap for people to make some repairs on. Now the thing I want to touch on that is you can't have your mindset on selling on price to satisfy the customer. Okay? Remember what I said is the best deals that you can make in any business are good for both parties. If you're trying to meet them where they are, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. And if you're trying to go where you need to be and overprice, you may be doing them a disservice. So, but on that note, I do a little differently than you, Miss Ward, where Paul was asking, Is it better to sell a job at a slightly lower price than doing a walk? And I'll say, taking those two together, I still offer the full price. That's that's where I'm starting. I'm starting here. Okay. Now, depending on what the job is, I may flex a little bit to meet them where they're at, because selling selling the job is better than walking. And most of us, our walk rate, our service charge is pretty much break even or just above it. I don't want to break even. I I ain't feeding my kids on break even. Uh, I got to make some money. Now, I want to find the most efficient, effective way to sell this job in a way that the customer believes it. And price, if you're on a race to the bottom, that's where you're going to end up. So I've had, I did it in the past, and my techs have done it at times where they go up to a house and it looks like crap, and they assume that they're not going to fix it. They assume that they don't have any money and that they won't find value in the repair, and, and their whole attitude is affected by it. Mine was too. But when I realized that some of them people have coffee cans of cash under their mattress, and they'll come out and paying in hundreds, the big blue bills. Uh, I can't judge people just on appearance, and that's a life lesson there. You can't judge a book by the cover. You never know what's going on. Uh, so yes and no, Paul. Uh, I ain't gonna walk away from fixing a job. That's what I'm here to. I'm here to fix the thing. If I want to fix it and I know it's a high profit job for me, I'll flex a little bit. I'll make them feel like they're getting something. I'll give them $25 off. Now I ain't gonna sell myself for the dollar either. I ain't gonna work at all the way down and not make any money. You know, I'm not gonna do the work and break even. If I'm doing the work, I'm making some money. You know. Uh, Now the truck stock, what what we were talking about is know the common appliances in your area, of that target avatar that you have. Your target customer, what appliances do they have, and figure out what fails the most on those appliances and stock it. I can tell you, I'm in this Jeep now, and you guys saw me in the smart car for a little bit. That was just fun, the approval point. If you pregame and you stock only common parts, you don't need a $50,000 truck with $20,000 of truck stock. I can do this in a $10,000 Jeep and have $2,000 to $3,000 of truck stock and still get the job done. So anytime I we could sit here and name parts, okay? And if you guys need something, I think we have a part stock list on servicealliancegroup.com. If not, we'll get you one. But it's going to be different for everybody. But yes, Paul, a lot of them will be the same. Uh, Mr. O, I have people pay me $760 to replace control boards on dishwashers because they didn't want to buy another because they didn't want to get a different color dishwasher. You never know. There it is.
Hey, hey, ask Mr. O who taught him that.
I
That's one
think
of
I
my
might know.
students.
I think I might know. Uh, SQ Servicers, thanks for checking in. Great information, straight nuggets, gold nuggets there. I had chicken nuggets last night for dinner. How about that? Paul says this is the problem with the silly character limit. I don't assume or even decide for the customer. I tell them what we can offer and at what price. Your inputs are gold, and I appreciate it. Good, Paul. Good. And Paul was working for the big name competitor in his area,
Mhm.
and high prices, and it comes with whatever. If you're going to charge high prices, you need to do high quality service. So Paul knows about high quality service. He was
Mm-hmm.
one of the better guys on the team, as far as I understand. And if you
Well,
take that same attitude, Paul, and treat your customers that way or better,
yep.
price price shouldn't be an option. I'll tell you, I love seeing the messages back from my office help when they answer the phone and they don't book a call because somebody didn't like the service charge.
Mm-hmm.
Good. It's working. It's working.
Exactly.
I raised it to do that. Because if they don't
Exactly.
like your service charge, they're not going to like your repair rate. I
Exactly.
want the ones that can afford it and appreciate it.
Yep.
I know that's where your jam is too.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't look. Let me tell you something. I'm one of them people. I deal with older people. I give them a 5% senior citizen discount, a AAA 5%. But I ain't going no lower than that because I'm gonna tell you something. No good deed goes unpunished. You haven't lived till you lower rate, do the job, barely make a profit, and they aggravating the hell out of your ass later. Oh no, that is not my life.
Yep.
No.
We ain't got time for that stuff. So I know I had some other stuff we was going to talk about, but I'll tell you, walk rate was such a good topic, and how to go about making the sale. I could talk for hours on first impression, customer service, you know, analyzing your numbers, different things that you can offer to sell with the job to make sure your averages go up. But it all starts with where we was at with the Bible verses and the study in the beginning. You're dealing with people. Treat them right. You know, Jesus said the chief commandments was love God and love people. I paraphrase, right? But that's what you got to do, Mister O. If they try to lowball my one tactic I use is the takeaway. My warranty is 1 year, and labor. If they ask me for a discount more than 10%, I tell them I can only warranty for 90 days. Many will say, forget it, pay me what I asked. And again, it's not about the money, right? Mr. O's getting it. Uh, some people just want to know that what they're paying is worth it and they're getting some value. So he's got a 1 year warranty. There it is. Hey, you want a discount? Well, I'm taking away the warranty. You know, that's one way. Now, uh, the one thing that Jason was teaching me and everybody else that's watching, offer solutions, plural, plural. Not just here's what it costs to fix it, but here's a couple options for you. And that works a little more in his industry with electrical, where you got a lot of times you do the good, better, best.
Hey, EJ,
Yeah,
I have to interrupt you. Okay.
go
I
ahead.
have a female emergency, but I'll be right back.
Well,
Hey,
we're
you know the
closing.
girls always use that y'all shut all the way up. Y'all ain't got no questions. Be right
No
back
question.
though.
Hey, I'm wrapping up anyways. All right.
Okay. All
Well,
right,
we'll
y'all.
see
Well,
you.
look, I love everybody. Miss Ward is out. You know, if you need anything, you need some real coaching, you know the links. Talk to y'all soon. My solid steppers, thanks for representing. Paul, let me hold something. That's what I'm gonna be saying to you next year. I'm gonna be like, Paul, let me hold something because I know you blowing up over there. All right,
Uh,
be blessed, everybody. It is always a pleasure. EJ, you know I love you, man. Talk to
yes,
y'all
yes.
soon. Be
Love
blessed.
you.
Everybody have a great day. I'm signing off.
All right. Boy, she sure knows how to make my face turn red. Mentioned the female problems, but anyways, I hope you guys got something out of it. Uh, we try our best to pour our hearts out and let you know what's the deal, what we learned. Uh, I can't tell you how to grow to a 10 or 20 tech business. I'm only at 3, so you take this for what it is. But hope you guys got something. And thank you for watching.